DualSense controller that comes with the PlayStation 5 is one of the coolest controllers we've seen in quite some time for video games. It has a lot of really cool features such as the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback, but that all comes at a cost, and unfortunately that cost is battery life. It doesn't take long for gaming on the PS5 just to realize how short this battery life really is on this thing. Now it's fine if you have two controllers, you can just hot swap them and keep them charging, but if you don't and you're really getting annoyed with how frequently this controller needs to be recharged, here are some things you could do to optimize the battery on the DualSense controller. So from the main menu on the PS5, you need to go up and over to the settings menu. From the settings menu, just scroll all the way down to accessories and click into accessories from here. You want to go down to controller and general, the general controller. And in here you'll see quite a few different options. Now, they'll all make sense once you're in here. Vibration intensity, which is how strong, when there's an explosion in the game or you shoot a bullet, how strong the vibration is on the controller. The more you lower this, the less battery that will be consumed to run those little motors. So if you want to save some battery life, you can't turn it off if its vibration isn't a deal breaker for you. The triggers, maybe not always a big deal because many games don't actually support this feature, but for those that do, turning this off will save quite a bit of battery life, simply because pressing the L2 and R2 triggers when this is enabled, there's going to be a little gear system that pushes back on your finger, and that sort of mechanical power comes at the cost of the battery life. So turning that off will also save you a lot of battery. Now this can be useful to some people who don't particularly like the trigger effects, especially for those where they find after a while it begins to start hurting their fingers. So turning that off will probably be the biggest saving that you can make in terms of battery life on the DualSense. You've also got the the color of the light. Now the light is not as big on the DualSense as it was on the DualShock 4, but there's still a light that wraps around the touchpad, and if you want to reduce that to a dim state, that will also do a little bit just to help you reduce the amount of battery life that gets eaten up. When you want to charge your controller, you can charge it on the fly, so you can just get an extra long USB-C cable, plug it into the PlayStation, and you'll be able to charge it as you play. Not always the most ideal way to play, but that's all you can really do. Unfortunately, that is probably the maximum of what you can realistically do to save battery. I know some people say things like environmental things will control, like play it in a cool, dry area, but for the most part, they're going to be in your sweaty hands while you're busting your way through Call of Duty or something. So these three options are probably going to be your biggest benefits when it comes to battery life savings. One or two of them, if you can reduce them just a little bit, should allow you to get a little bit more out of the battery life on your DualSense controller. So hopefully that helped you, and talk to you later.